Good morning, brothers and sisters. This is the video that I was talking about last night that I was going to make. Here's the deal. Some of y'all are going to fall away after watching this video, and that's fine. I wish you nothing but blessings and peace. But to be honest with you, this isn't for the weak-hearted. And you'll realize this as soon as I get through with this video. And you've heard me use the term shaky. That's basically a prison term for you can't be afraid. Don't be shaky, man. And you've heard me use the term 3%ers. And it takes special people. And after you watch this video, if you're one of the ones that fall away, then you're not one of those. But I wish you well. I really do. But anyway, here we go. In 2000, the end of 2015 is when I started doing these conditional acceptances. And the particular one that I did was over the child support. And in this conditional acceptance, the humans that were involved were acting as trustees in my trust. The child support case, or whatever you want to call it, has the Social Security number attached to it. They make money. They get money. They get federal funds for however a percentage, 66% of whatever they can collect from the so-called deadbeat dads. If they can collect if the state can collect $1, they're reimbursed 66 cents. You can find this if you do the research about the Child Support Act. You'll see this in there. Also, they're creating coupons, and they're redeeming the coupons. So this is a big money racket. Child support's a big money racket. And I would suggest those of you out there that are being divorced or were never married but have children with baby mama, and to go ahead and come to an agreement before you go in, because you do not want to get these jokers involved. They're going to make money on you. Mamas, daddies, they're going to make money on you. They're going to make money on both of your trusts. That coupon that they're redeeming is against your trust and baby mama's trust. So this is a big money racket. The state gets a lot of money. So I went in over this child support, and I wasn't getting right rule. The one time I got right rule, it was taken from me just like that. So when I wrote the first conditional acceptance and served it, I served it on my ex-wife and 4 circuit court judges, a sessions court judge, the child support referees, 2 of them, the director of the Department of Human Services, her name was Rachel Hatter at the time. Yeah, she owed me $4 million. Well, they did all that, and I sent the conditional acceptance in. I served every one of them with the contract, and shortly after that, I get a letter in the mail saying, we're going to suspend your license. So I took the letter from the Department of Homeland Security, Tennessee Department of Homeland Security, the person's whose name was on the letter, and I liened her for $4 million, and I liened her boss for $4 million, and I liened the commander of the Tennessee Highway Patrol. His name was Tracy Trott, for $4 million. So with that one incident, I had 15 people contracted, and for $4 million apiece. That's $60 million. that was the first contract that I developed and sent to the Treasury. Well, me and my comrades that were involved in this, together, combined, we created almost $2 billion in lien securities, which we contracted with the Treasury with, and they in turn pass them along to the IRS to have them collect. Well, the second set of conditional acceptances that I created them. They were a special kind of conditional acceptance. They were we all came together. This is how it went down. They were messing with one of us. Mess with one, you get us all. So we did class action conditional acceptance. That's where 10 of us came together because they were messing with one. This is what we're going to do. We're all going to get you. And when the state of Tennessee, the corporate state of Tennessee, seen what we were doing, they were like, oh my God, man, these guys are, they're not doing this individually anymore. They're collectively coming together as we the people and doing these class action conditional acceptances. And so each one of us was creating $144 million in liens. There were 10. So when they seen what we were doing, they were like, we got to do something about this. We got to shut this down. So they started investigating. They started TBI, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, started investigating. I'm assuming the whole matter, and they came and collected us all up in one day, February the 15th of 2017. They picked us all up that morning. I spoke briefly about this incident in a couple other videos, but they told me, they said, are you Mr. Hauser? I said, well, no, I'm Christopher Allen. My family name is Hauser. Well, this is him. We got a warrant for your arrest. You're under arrest. I said, well, let me see the warrant. Oh, well, we'll show you. We're going to question you first. Okay, I asked. And the minute she said, you're under arrest, I said, where's the warrant? And she said, well, we'll show you later, right? I got all fifth on them. Look it, man, don't try and talk with these clowns. If they got you, they got you. You're not going to be able to talk your way out of this. Any arrest. If they're going to arrest you, they've already intended to do that. And there's no way of talking your way out of it. I know some pretty girls, they'll, hey man, whatever, I'll give you my phone number. But a lot of times that don't even work. So they took three of the 10 of us were from east of Knoxville, so they took us all to Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. They took 3 of us. They took me from Cott County, they took Michael from Greene County, and they took Ron from Hamlin County. And they brought us all to Jefferson County. Well, the state troopers escorted me in. And see, I had a contract with Tracy Trott. You do this to me again, and I'm going to get you again. And then he sent his cronies to get me. And they put us in the jail. They walked me into the interrogation room, and the 2 TBI agents set their books on the table. Hey, we'll have a seat. And I said, look, this ain't going to take long. I don't even believe I want to sit down. After cramming me in the back of this squad car, me with a veteran with screwed up knees. And this ain't going to take long. So he read the rights. He read the Miranda. And as soon as he got to the end, he said, at any time, you can stop this questioning and we'll get you a lawyer. I said, hold on a minute, let's make this, I'm going to make this real brief. I held up 5 fingers. Well, what was that supposed to mean? I said, well, what'd you say? Something there about your right to remain silent? And then I got all Dave Chappelle on him and laughing. And they took me back into the jail, put me in one of the holding cells, And then it was 2 or 3 hours later when they brought all my other friends and my other 2 friends in. I was in their jail with a pocket knife, a pocket full of change. They didn't even bother to pat me down. So they took me and my 2 friends to Nashville. The other guys, they collected up around north Knoxville, and western Knoxville. And they took us all to Nashville. And while we were in Nashville, we were in the Metropolitan Police Station, and where they processed us in. And the 3 of us walked in, and the cop said, well, we got a warrant for him, and we got a warrant for him, but we don't have one for him. I said, you don't have a warrant for me? Wait a minute. What did this fat lady cop tell me whenever she said she had a warrant? Where is it? Well, we got one. We just don't have it here. I said, well, then if you don't have a warrant, I'm leaving. See you. I got up and started walking towards the door. Oh, you can't go, man. You're under arrest. I said, look, until you got a warrant, you show me a warrant, I'm not under arrest. I'm going to go sit out here I tell you what, I'm going to go sit out here on the park bench and smoke a cigarette. That was the last day I smoked a cigarette. After 37 years of smoking, we're going to force you to quit, which is very uncool. But anyway, so they let me go out. I went outside. They sent a cop out there sitting down with me, man. We both sat there and smoked cigarettes, and he tried to, shoot a line with me. I said, look, man, I don't talk to pigs. So they took us in. They finished the booking. The cop was like, here, to the booking officer, here's a warrant for this guy. I went to grab it, and he's like, you can't touch that. Well, then I'm never served. They took us into the jail, and throughout the rest of that afternoon, my other comrades, they started funneling in, and we sat out there waiting to be booked and go through the process. Well, they transferred us to a bigger jail outside Nashville by the airport, and we went in there. It was late that night by the time we got in there, and 2 weeks passed. I was like, wait a minute, they're supposed to do an arraignment in 72 hours. Oh, well, we don't do that here in Tennessee. We got 2 weeks. Okay, whatever. So 2 weeks went by, and the night before the arraignment, the alleged arraignment, I sat down with my friends and I said, look, man, we need to be at one accord when we go into this thing, when they force us into this thing. And they agreed. So I sat down and I wrote down, I made 11 copies of what to say, and I passed them out between all of us. The morning that we got on the bus, my other friends that were in other pods, I gave them the notice. Look, man, when you get there, pull this out of your pocket and read this first thing. So we get there, and there's 10 of us. They took 3 of them and put them in front of another judge, and then they took 7 of us and put us in front of this judge. Her name was Blackburn. She looked just like Judge Judy. Her name was Cheryl Blackburn. If you want to Google Cheryl Blackburn, Nashville, judge in Nashville, you'll see what I mean. She was just like Judge Judy. I can't stand to watch Judge Judy to this day because of Turnet stuff. So they brought me in first. I was the first one to break the doors. I walk in there, and she says, stand behind the podium. And I was standing alongside of it. She said, did you hear me? Stand behind the podium. I said, I'm not standing behind that podium. I'm standing right here. Well, you got to stand in front of the microphone so we can hear me, or so we can hear you. I said, trust me, I can speak loud enough. You're going to hear every word I've got to say. And she started to say something. I cut her off in the middle of a sentence. I said, hey, there's something I got to say for this gets going here. And by that time, I'd already memorized what I wanted to say. I didn't need the piece of paper. So she said, well, go ahead. I said, this is what I said, okay? And this is what I taught the other inmates to say while we were locked up in county. And a lot of them went in and said it and were released almost immediately. But they couldn't do us, and I'll explain why here in a little bit. But I walked in and I said, this is what I said. I said, without prejudice, I, Christopher Allen Hauser, beneficiary and sovereign, am here under fraud, menace, duress, and extortion. Fiduciary Cheryl was her first name. I said, this is a Social Security Sestakay trust action, which you are now a real party in interest to. This is a military admiralty tribunal in maritime law. See Title 4 of the United States Code, Section 1, Lawyer's Edition, Interpretive Notes and Decisions, which states, placing the fringe on the national flag is within the discretion of the President, acting as the Commander-in-Chief of the Army and the Navy. And after saying that, I'm going to break down why I said it that way, why we all said it that way. When you say without prejudice, you're reserving your rights, all your rights. You can say without prejudice, or you can say without recourse. It basically means the same thing. Then I said my name in the human form, Christopher Allen. If you don't hyphenate your first name and your middle name, then I would be Christopher of the Allens. It's English grammar. Colon basically means pay close attention to what comes next. And after that, I said Hauser, or family of Hauser. Then beneficiary, beneficiary. I'm stating that I am the beneficiary. And then I'm also a sovereign. And then I said fiduciary Cheryl. So think about it. Up until that point, she didn't open her mouth. And then I said, this is a Social Security Sestakay trust action, which you're now a real party in interest to. Then I said, this is a military admiralty tribunal in maritime law, right? Now, as I'm saying all this stuff, she hasn't opened her mouth. And so there's a word I'm sure a lot of y'all are familiar with. It's called acquiescence. It's admission by silence. So if I say all these things and she doesn't say, whoa, hold on a minute, you're not a beneficiary, I'm not a fiduciary, this isn't a military court, this isn't a Social Security Sestakay trust action, I'm not a trustee. If she doesn't say all that stuff, then it becomes fact. It is fact. So she thought she'd be slick. Anytime you're forced into a court, you can challenge the jurisdiction, but you got to do it right away. Don't let them say anything. I'm here to challenge the jurisdiction of the court. There's federal law and most state law that says once jurisdiction is challenged, the court cannot proceed one step further until they answer the jurisdiction. They don't have it. I talked about that in a previous video, in propria persona. She says to me, these are some pretty serious charges. How do you plead? And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. There's something I was supposed to hear that I didn't hear. It's called nature and cause. You have the right to know, Sixth Amendment, you have the right to know the nature and the cause of the accusations against you. It's like mama spanking you without telling you why. Dang, Mom, why'd you spank me? Oh, don't worry about it. I'll tell you later. No, it's nature and cause. You have to be told the nature and the cause of the accusations against you. So, and this is what I'm thinking. I'm like, I got her. I got this one. And also, you didn't answer the challenge. So I knew at that point from everything thereon, was a farce and wasn't accurate. And wouldn't hold the record. So she went on to say, these are some serious charges. How do you plead? I said, I don't. She said, well, I'm going to plead for you. I said, well, you can't. You don't have my power of attorney. You plead a damn thing. And I was a little more stronger. I'm just trying to keep this so I can keep it under kid video. And and furthermore, that's practicing law from the bench, and you can't do that. She said, well, I'm going to appoint this attorney right here as your counsel. I said, no, you're not. She said, yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not, Cheryl. So, she says, what are you trying to say? You want to represent yourself? I said, no, I'm not here to represent, because it's present again. That's what represent means. I said, I'm here, sure, jurist and propria persona. Get him out of my courtroom now. The bailiff went to grab my arm. I said, you touch me, I'm going to file assault charges on you. So I was taken out of there and taken off to the, back to the cell, right outside the courtroom. And my friends were laughing. We heard every word you said, Chris. I said, yeah, I know. We all did this. One went in and said, he read what he's supposed to, and he said, every question she asked after that, he was like, I don't understand, I don't understand, I don't understand. Another one went in and said, hey man, you don't have jurisdiction here. I'm not even supposed to be here. I don't consent. I don't consent. I don't consent. And then one of our other guys went in there and he just went off, man. He was like, look, man, you can't do this. This is a military court. Get him out of here. So this woman did this 7 times, and all 7 times she failed to say the nature and the cause. Why? She was trying to get us to plead. These are some serious charges. How do you plead? I don't. Murder's a serious charge, and rape's a serious charge. Child molestation's a serious charge. And believe me, you don't want to go to prison with that. You do not want to go to prison with that. I used to think, a child molester needs a quick freaking bullet through the head. But then after going to prison, I'm like, no, this is what they need. This is what they need. This is long. This is painful. And then they let them out, or they don't. A lot of them go out. A lot of them go out horizontally. But so from that point on, we refused to go. They'd come in the morning time. Hauser, wake up, man. You got court today. No, I don't. No, I don't. And we refused to go. They took us all down there one day, the first time after the bogus arraignment, and they had us all shackled up to each other, one to another. And then as soon as the guard went to put the cuffs on me, I said, I'm not going. I refuse. So he took the cuffs off, and he goes, stand over there by that door. And there was a young black man that was sitting next to me, and he said, wait a minute, you can refuse to go? And the guard said, no, you can't. He said, well, you let dude over here doesn't have to go. And I don't want to go either, He said, well, that's him, not you. And he shut up and went on to go. But while I was in county jail, I was teaching these other kidnappees to how to respond. And quite a few of them were going in there and doing it like this. And then when they finally forced us in, I don't know, I guess it was 6 months later, they finally forced us in. They said one of the guards at the courthouse in the basement where the cells are at, he let us all into the cell, a little tiny cell, man. I don't know, it's probably 12 by 12, and there's 18 people in it. One toilet over in the corner. Bad. If you had ate something really bad the night before, you didn't want to go to court the next day, believe me. So he stops me and he says, hey man, come out here, I want to talk to you. I said, no, if you got something to say it with this door open right here. I said, I don't want none of these, I don't want none of these my homies in here to think I'm out here snitching. I said, you lost your mind? He said, no, okay, man. He said, I said, what's up? He said, you're one of those sovereign citizens, aren't you? I said, no, I'm a sovereign. And he started laughing. I said, what's so funny, man? He's like, you don't know how bad you guys got this courthouse screwed up. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, just the month of May alone, there was 35 people refused to go to court. I started laughing. I thought this was pretty funny. So they took us upstairs, and as soon as the bailiff walked me into the courtroom, I noticed that there was a line of about 15 lawyers along the wall standing. And then the whole front row was dudes and women in suit pants. They're all attorneys. There wasn't a single person, a single civilian sitting in the audience. And she pulled me up. She said, "Come on over here to the podium." So you can't do what they tell you. The first time she said, "Raise your right hand," I went like this. "You put your finger down. We'll have no obscene gestures in my courtroom." I think I'll put my finger down now. That's how you got to play these clowns. You don't obey them. You don't do what they tell you to do. Come up here and stand right there. Well, you're submitting to the jurisdiction when you do that. If you want to go stand over there, tell them, "You know what? I think I'll go stand over there right now." Don't make it up to them. You decide. So she says, she starts this whole rigmarole. See, we've been refused. 2 or 3 times we refused to go. Well, drag him in here. I'm going to, a special appearance, challenge of jurisdiction. So I roll off in there, and she starts to talk and say, "Hey, hold on a minute." I said, "Last time I was in here, I challenged your jurisdiction. Answer the GD challenge of jurisdiction. Get him out of my courtroom." Man, no sooner than I sat down, the bailiff's coming back going, "Come on, son." We go back in there. She starts to talk. I said, and I got a little louder. You could have heard a pin drop. There were 30 or 40 lawyers in this courtroom trying to see what the sovereigns were going to do, I guess. We were making her look bad. And the second time I went in, I got a little louder. I cussed a little more and, said some really premium cuss words. "Get him out of my courtroom." The third time I went in there, I just amped it up a little bit, a little louder, a little more, a little longer. And she said, "Get him out of my courtroom. And next time you come in here, you'll shut your mouth and listen to me." I said, "No, next time I come in here, B, you'll shut your GD mouth and listen to me, you friggin' whore of Babylon. Get him out of here now. Put him on the bus. I don't want to see this guy ever again, So, and the bailiffs, as soon as we break the door and the door shuts behind them, they bust up laughing, man. "Man, you guys, I ain't never seen anybody talk to these guys like this. You must got some big kahunas, And they laugh all the way down the elevator. They get down to the basement floor, where the cells are at, and they're laughing at all their jailer buddies. You wouldn't believe what this guy just said, man. Yeah, go back and review the video. So, she didn't hold us in contempt of court when we did that because she didn't have jurisdiction. So we're staying there in the jail. The bond was set at $150,000. The alleged charges were 21 counts of Class E felony, filing fraudulent liens in Davidson County. It was Tennessee Code annotated 39-17-117. And the other one was 21 counts of Class A felony forgery over $250,000. And shortly after we were taken to Nashville, the Tennessee legislation decided that they needed to do something about what we did. So they spent, I don't know, man, maybe 3 months, 4 months in their session and totally came up with some new law based on what we were doing. And then it went into effect July the 1st of 2017. The funny thing about it was the actual law that they created had to do with adjudicated liens, right? And you remember from the last video, I said you can lien a man depriving him of the beneficial use of his property without any judicial determination or probable cause, right? So what they did had nothing to do with what we were doing. So I'm going to leave that for now and make another video just to break this one up. See you in just a second.